All right, are you ready? Tom MacDonald released a new song, and as we all know, the Hangover Gang is a fucking awesome group of people, and I know that a bunch of you will watch this reaction, which I really appreciate. Man, I appreciate all the support. That's so amazing. I've been following Tom MacDonald for almost 4 years now. Let me remember which song. It was Straight White Male. That was the first song that I listened to him. I just had it in my YouTube recommendations and I listened to it and I was like, what? There's actually a rapper that is like talking about the stuff that I think is wrong with the world. Like, what? And I was like, man, I gotta listen to all of his stuff. And then I went through like every single of his videos, and I've watched every single video since. Yeah, because it's just so relieving. I think it's relieving to hear somebody address the things that you think is wrong with the world. And Tom does that, and he does that in a really nice way. Okay, so that's the introduction. Who am I? My name is OMIM. I am a German rapper. I wanted to, I was thinking, like, what can I show you guys so that you know where is this guy coming from? What does this guy's music sound like? Why does he think that he can judge a Tom MacDonald? Which I can, because Tom MacDonald is way better and has a crazy work ethic, which I would hope to achieve one day. But man, Tom is an absolute beast. But yeah, I just found this silly song that I made, but like, yeah, I'm just gonna show you a little bit.
Yeah, ey. Gummibär, bei uns auf den Gummibär, wie gibt der Runde einen Punkt, wenn du Gummibären liebst, geht der Gummi auf, Beats, das ist Sound für den Wave, du willst auch keine kommen, aber heißt leider Dave. Heißt, du bist nicht eingeladen, mach eine nice Party und besteige danach vielleicht deine Mama, du bist ein Versager, deine Runde punch so wie Seifenblasen, ey.
Okay, enough of that. We are here. What are we here for? We are here for Tom MacDonald. The song is now, I think, maybe 1 day old, and it almost has 1 million views. I'm pretty hyped, to be honest, because Tom was saying that this is his best music video ever. Yeah, so let's find out if that's true. Yeah, I think let's just go straight into it.
Humans been controlled since the day that they were
Oh, I gotta turn it on. Oh, hey, wait. We're going straight in.
Humans been controlled since the day that they were civilized. The truth has been so heavily politicized. If you don't know who's controlling you and killing all the little guys, find out who you're not allowed to criticize.
Find out who you're not allowed to criticize. Hell yeah. I found that out. I said a couple of things. Not even in bad intent. I was just being curious. I asked a couple of questions and suddenly everyone was like, how can you say that? Well, yep. Suddenly we know what's going on, yeah?
Black folks who were never ever actual slaves, fighting with white folks who ain't actual Nazis, controlled by rich folks who use the news to make hate, while elite folks control other political parties. It's a big lie, trying to make...
For real. Man, I was actually thinking, sorry for pausing, but man, you're here for the reaction, so you might as well listen to me talk about my experience. I was thinking about that a lot. It was like, man, how expensive is it actually to buy like politicians? It's not that expensive, right? They're just humans. And I am sure that people with money, I'm talking like a lot of money, they can just be like, hey, maybe we'll get these guys, we got these guys, and suddenly, like, we can do whatever the fuck we want. Yeah, that shit is fucked up. And I don't think that there's, like, any nameable amount of people. Like, I don't think there's a big group of people who are politicians and who don't get pushed around. Like, most people who are politicians by training, and that means they'll just go with the flow. And that means if some big fish comes, they'll do whatever the big fish says. Yeah, that shit is scary. But we're only 23 seconds in. Let's continue, man. All right.
Make you pick sides, trying to make you burn the cities down and kill
Wait,
each other.
I gotta go back. I gotta go back a little bit. Man, I gotta start from the beginning, man. Who am I even kidding? There's so much in here.
Humans been controlled since the day that they were civilized. The truth has been so heavily politicized.
Yeah.
If you don't know who's controlling you and killing all the little guys, find out who you're not allowed to criticize. Black
Yes.
folks who were never ever actual slaves, fighting with white folks who ain't actual Nazis, controlled by rich folks who use.
Also, the word Nazi, I fucking hate that it is just thrown around like it doesn't mean anything. It's like, yeah, you can call someone asshole. We all have an asshole. But do you actually know like who the Nazis were? Do you actually know that? And if you know that, is that a word that you want to throw around? Like this word is heavy. I wouldn't ever call anyone a Nazi who like hasn't read Mein Kampf and is like, yeah, man, that guy was onto something. That guy was right. If there isn't someone who's like, yeah, Hitler was the good guy. If you're not like that, you're not a Nazi. Like, even if you disagree with someone, even if there's someone who's like a little bit racist, that's not a Nazi. Like, yeah, we get it. Racism, like, that's a difficult topic, and if it's if there's any way to avoid it, like racism isn't a good thing, sexism isn't a good thing. Like, treat humans with decency, and every single human, like treat every single human with decency, right? Treat every single human with respect. Try to have empathy for every single human, regardless of all those labels that we attach to them. And like, who cares if you're black, white, if you have green hair, pink hair? Who cares what gender you are? Even if you're gender 63, what the fuck? What? You're still a human. Why should I treat you any different? Right? We're all humans. But people who actively dehumanize people, who are like, these aren't actual people, these are Jews, so we're just gonna kill them because it doesn't matter. Like, that is horrible. That is horrible. And on a similar level, not on the same level, but like on a similar level, it is horrible to say, this is just a white man, so he's just like every other white man, because that's not true, because we're all humans. I'm not gonna treat a black guy like every other black guy. I'm not gonna treat a woman like every other woman. It doesn't make sense, because we're all individuals. Of course, there are some patterns that we can observe, sure, and it makes sense to learn cultural differences and cultural norms and to notice that people are similar in some way, but that doesn't mean that I dehumanize you, because first of all, you're a human, and second of all, you're like whatever race, gender, whatever nationality, I don't care. But first of all, you're a human. And that's the most important part. Yeah. So don't call nobody a Nazi who's just like a little bit farther right on the spectrum, or who you just happen to disagree with. That is actually a bad act in itself. That is really bad. Because if you just use the word Nazi all the time, people forget how bad Nazis is, because everybody's a Nazi. That happens nowadays. Everybody's a Nazi. All right, yeah. All right, then I'm a Nazi. Yeah, doesn't matter. No, it does matter. It does matter. You don't want to be a Nazi, and we all know that. So stop calling people Nazis, man. And that wasn't a rant against Tom, because he's just playing on the narrative.
The news to make hate, while elite folks control other political parties. It's a big lie, trying to make you pick sides, trying to make you burn the cities down and kill each other. They got sick minds, big lies, deep on the police so that there's big crime. To take away our freedom, to restore order, they let die. Play with people, turn men into women, make the counterculture mainstream to mix up the system. Change the pronouns. If gender is a spectrum, so is privilege. I know poor white folks.
If gender is a spectrum, so is privilege. Yeah? Fair enough.
Some black celebrities with millions. They starve you with a lack of information and only give you facts through a branded corporation. Distort your worldview with an algorithm that changes based on propaganda curated for your engagement.
Yeah, man. Oh, man, I find it so funny when I go on Instagram and there's like anything that just mentions vaccines or anything that has to do with corona. And suddenly Instagram is like, oh, wait a minute. You're talking about vaccines here. Listen to us first. Don't listen to whatever they're saying. Listen to us, listen to us, listen to us. That's already a sign that there's something shady going on. Because if there was something, if they actually had the truth, they didn't have to push it into your faces. Like, why would I believe something false? There's no reason for me to believe something false. Because in the end, it's just me who's gonna suffer if I believe in something false. I'm trying to find out the truth. So you don't have to like put up big posters of this is the truth, listen to me. Hell nah, just get out of my face. I can decide for myself. I can try things out. Then find out what works. I can listen to other people who try things out. I don't need some big corporation to tell me what is right and what is wrong. The hell do they know? They don't know nothing about me. They just know what kind of content I like to consume. That's all. They don't know me. They just know my behavior. That's not me. So how can they judge? Just fuck off.
We can't be free. Can't have no peace till we're on the same team, but y'all are sheep. Blue to screens just part of the machine. Y'all are sheep.
Oh, yo, that guitar.
What do y'all believe? My sheep. Nothing's what it seems. Hollywood been rotting your brain, controlling your mouth. You say lit, fleek, bet, cap. They trying to dumb you down. They endorse whatever narrative is popular to shout and use minorities in movies for diversity clout. Two sides on the spectrum, but ain't none of them honest. Took the red pill and the blue pill, spit them both in the garbage.
I like that line. Took the red pill and the blue pill, spit them both in the garbage. Yeah, man. I hear you. But he was also talking about a lot of other like interesting stuff. I'm just gonna let it roll because otherwise this is going to be like a 30-minute reaction. But I gotta go back and listen to it again because like while he was talking, I was already thinking like, man, yeah, what do I think about that? He was talking about like they are getting you to use words like lit, cap, and whatever. I don't know. I just like the words, so I use them. I don't know. I don't think there's like any larger anything larger going on. But I'm gonna think about that. I don't know. Maybe he's right. But maybe that also applies to just people who just use that. But then also that's just popular culture. But then also you can be critical of popular culture. Yeah. I don't know. I gotta listen to that again and just like actually think about it. But now let's keep going.
Woke used to mean you understood you're a target, and now it's having two good legs and never taking a step forward. If you agree, it's free speech. Disagree, it's hate speech. Erase it if it came from anywhere except the mainstream. Trump supporters labeled as the racist, but that can't be. Lincoln was Republican, and that's who ended slavery. Science been politicized, it's easy to see. A mask became a symbol of which side you believe.
Yes. A mask became a symbol of which side you believe. That is the last thing that a mask should be for. Same as a vaccine. It should not be to express what side you belong to. That should be a personal decision about your health. And your health, your decisions about your health should never ever be a political statement. That should be your personal decision. And nobody should give a damn about what I decide for my health. Especially if there are ways for you to protect yourself. And if the vaccine is so good, why don't you just get vaxxed and leave me the fuck alone? And if the mask works, why don't just you wear your mask and leave me alone?
But you'll never cure a sickness till you cure the greed, because the problem with our natural immunity is it's free. Society is broken once you lock.
The problem with our natural immunity is that it's free. that's something we gotta remove. Because people are actually able to withstand sickness if they're healthy. So let's just put them into small houses, forbid them to walk outside, tell people they're actual Nazis for going on a walk. That actually happened here in Germany. And forbid any social activity so that people get depressed. And then when you're depressed, ching ching, making big bucks.
Inside a cubicle, addicted to pornography, liquor, and pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, exactly,
Tell you
exactly.
that you're fat and poor and you were never beautiful.
Exactly.
Then tweet how much they love you when they hear about your funeral. Oof. We can't be free.
Oh, man.
Still we're on the same team, but other sheep. Blue screens just part of the
I
machine.
love the beat. I love the beat. It has like these dystopian synths in it. Oh, that sounds so great. And it fits so well with these robots and the Big Brother watching you kind of imagery. Man, that is actually one of the best Tom songs. Man, I was a little bit, to be honest, I was a little bit scared that Tom was like losing his momentum and that he was like still going, but not as strong. But this is hell good.
What do y'all believe? Nothing's what it seems. If they can't convince you, they confuse you. They want you dumb and dead. They divided you by race, religion, income, and sex. Made everybody right and left. The hatred got so intense. If the other side likes oxygen, you'll put a bag on your head. And the conspiracy theories labeled as misinformation is just a terrifying truth that scares the hell out the nation. The system treating you like trash and you got rifles to aim with. Just imagine how they'll treat you when your guns get confiscated. George Orwell, 1984 was his last lecture. George called them thought police. Now we call them fact checkers. Government
Oh, I love that. Yeah, man. Man, when I was reading, I think that was when I was like 18 or so. Actually, we started, I had like higher class English in school, or higher level English. And we started reading, I think, Brave New World, and Fahrenheit 451. And I really got into it. And I was like, man, I want to read all of these dystopian novels. And then I read, 1984. That was actually my favorite. I was like, man, that is so deep. And then like 2 years ago or almost 3 years ago, when all the COVID shit started, and even kind of before that with all the gender shit and yeah, I was in a university which was super leftist, and I considered myself pretty deeply left-leaning. But then I was like, they just started saying wild shit. They were like, yeah, I remembered, like, there was one lecturer and there was a queer man or woman or something. Their name was Sebastian, and they said they were like doing some lecture about feminism and queer studies and how, I don't know, how like the patriarchy is bad and all that. But it just kept getting weird, and at some point, this person was actually saying, well, if like queerness isn't accepted, then we should just burn cars down. And I was like, what? You're in a university full of young students, and you're telling those young students in a university lecture to burn down cars and to like destroy people's even livelihood because they can't get to work. People's livelihood just because you feel like people are treating you bad, and that gives you the right to treat other people's like to actually get physically violent against them and their belongings. And I was like, what? And I tried to ask questions, but then suddenly the entire classroom was like turning against me, and everyone was looking at me like, who are you to ask these questions? And I was like, man, I'm not bad. I'm just like, I just don't think violence is the way. But suddenly, like, everyone was getting really, like, aggressive against me. And that was the point where I was like, shit, I have to get out of here. Yeah, so, man, that was already when I was starting to feel like that's the dystopia that we are in now. And that was also the time when I discovered Tom MacDonald, to go full circle. And I was like, man, I'm not the only, because I felt like I was the only person. We were like 90 people in this in this course, and there were 3 people who actually thought that, what the fuck is going on here? There were 3. There were probably a bunch of other people who were just like, didn't have a strong side. But to me, that was like the most outrageous stuff that you could say, to just promote physical violence in a university course and to paint it as the good thing, because you're doing what is right and what is good, and you're fighting for this great thing that is called queerness and acceptance and tolerance. And in the name of acceptance and tolerance, we are burning down cars and actually destroying people's livelihood. I was like, how the hell is that tolerance? You're talking about acceptance and tolerance and everyone is welcome and people should be different. But if you don't accept that, then it's okay to basically destroy your life. And there was almost nobody who thought that that was outrageous. Except for Tom. And that's why I'm a fan. So let's keep going.
Surveillance trying to catch you, they don't ask questions. Mass incarceration equals capital for cash investors. The system isn't broke, it's working fine. Oppressive and chaotic is how it was designed. They say if we ain't doing nothing wrong, there's nothing to hide. While their agenda and intelligence completely classified. They don't teach you rights in school, you never learn.
Oh, that was a big one. That was a big one. Oh, that's so good that he...
Oppressive and chaotic is how it was designed. They say if we ain't doing nothing wrong, there's nothing to hide. While their agenda and intelligence completely classified.
Oh, yo. Yeah, that's actually what's going on. They're saying, well, if you got nothing to hide, you got nothing to worry about. But the people who are saying that, their agenda is like completely hidden. And like you, even with like all the intelligence that you can bring up, there's no way that you can get to their actual plans. Man, that is a great way to say that. Oh, I love that song already. Oh, I love that so much.
They don't teach you rights in school, you never learn them at all.
For real? For real? Man, Thomas dropping truth bombs left and right. Left and right, left and right, left and right. This is a truth war. So many truth bombs are getting dropped. Yeah, they don't teach you your rights in school. Man, I wish that was happening. I wish that people were actually... I wish like I actually learned what my rights are. And suddenly I have to fear for my every step because I don't know what I'm legally allowed to do and what not, and how much I can get oppressed before I can say anything. Man. Yeah, for real.
They're easy to remove if you don't know what they are. The only people you can rule are the criminal ones. So they force you into corners till you're breaking the law. We can't be free.
Oh, that is actually another point about you knowing your rights. Because if you don't know your rights, they'll just keep pushing you until at some point you break and then you do something illegal and you might not even know that you're doing something illegal, but once you've done something illegal, that's when they can just nail you to the wall.
Can't have no peace till we're on the same team, but y'all are sheep. Blue screens just part of the machine. Y'all are sheep. What do y'all believe? Nothing's what it seems.
Hey. Yo, I love that. Man, that is exactly the type of Tom MacDonald I want to hear. Oh, I love that. I love that. That's so good. I gotta listen to that a couple more times. And I think this is one song that I'll keep coming back. Alright, I'm so happy that the hype wasn't for nothing, but that is actually one of the best Tom MacDonald songs I've heard ever. Yeah, ever. I'm gonna say it. That's one of the best top 5 Tom MacDonald song ever. Yeah. Oh, that's so good. Thanks, Tom. That will get a big thumbs up. And to everyone who's still watching, big ups to you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me. If you have your own experience, write a comment. I want to hear that. I like reading, especially your own experience. How you feel. What was the point when you started feeling something is off? Let me know. I really want to know. So, thank you so much for being here.